So we're trying to make sure, are you okay? Can you come in? Can you get? And so trying to balance all of that while also trying to balance home, like,
Hey guys,
welcome back
to the You're Not Crazy podcast.
Or maybe you are, but you're in good company.
You are in great company. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. It is your girl Tam and Anna with the You're Not Crazy podcast.
But if you are in perfect company.
Yes. That's funny that you said oh, okay. Guys, look, Anna got her hair locked.
I did.
And I love it. It looks so good on her. So people are really going to be confusing us now.
I know, right? I'm just going to be like, the one with the short ones, the one with the long one.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we just going to have to do it.
Yeah, because they're going to be like, Anna? And I'm be like, no, it's Tam. I thought you were Anna. No, I'm not. So as y'all can see by the title, we are filling you guys in on why we haven't posted in 2 weeks. We have been really consistent. Like,
we were doing really good.
And then life just came in just whoop-pow, right upside the head. Like, gave us a 2-piece to the face and then some. So it's been a roller coaster ride, to say the least. And I mean, when I say the least, I really mean that. Like, take all of the scariest roller coasters you've ever been on and like combine them into one, that's the roller coaster ride.
That keeps going.
Yeah. It never stops. It's like a never-ending dream. It's a revolving door. It's scary. Yeah. Yes. Whew. So, I guess we can just, we're just going to share with y'all what's been going on. And then we're going to get off of here because the roller coaster ride is still happening. As you can see, our set is a little different today.
Yes.
We are in my home. We are filming post-school hours. Supposed to be during school hours. But then life happened again, and it's just, so we're doing the best we can to get this filmed so that
y'all can have something
today, because literally we're filming on the same day we're editing, which we never do that. So shout out to Cody for getting that, making it happen for us. But
yes.
Do you want to start? Do you want me to start? Okay. So we you guys know that we run a education and consulting business together. One of our main programs, the one that we are most involved in, is our micro school. And in our micro school, we call it a micro school with a homeschool vibe. And I use air quotes around homeschool because homeschool is a lot different than what we do, but we have a homeschool vibe, as in the kids come, it's family oriented. We do cooking. We make them, these are our kids, really, is what they are. But we are still set up more like a private school, but we're smaller, so we call it a micro school. Just to explain it.
There's structure.
There's a lot of structure. As if they're in public school, but it's definitely not public school.
No.
So completely different. No knock on that, but just different.
No, you can knock it, but go ahead.
There's a lot of knocks that could be.
Yes.
But anyway, we basically had a wave of sickness that hit our school, and this happens every year, just in different ways. Last year it was the flu that took the whole school out. I mean, the entire school and their parents out.
And extended family
members and just everything. Like, it was bad. And nobody knew they had the flu until we went on fall break. And that's when it started surfacing. And we pretty much had to shut the school down for like a week after fall break. This year, we don't know what this is. We think it's like a virus strand that has a mixture of the flu, COVID, strep, any viral. It was a viral concoction, if you will. And nobody necessarily had the C word, and I don't say it too often because YouTube will flag it. They funny about that. But nobody tested positive for it. But it gave vibes because it was so contagious, whatever it was. And none of the babies that we know of, we had one baby that had, nobody had anything like any of those things I listed. Strep, flu, nobody.
It was strep. One of them had
One of them,
strep.
somebody had, yes,
But
somebody
they
did have
weren't even
strep.
there.
They weren't there, and then
Mm-mm.
another person had a sinus infection, but that's personal. It's not necessarily like
Yeah.
a you got a sinus infection. That's just personal to you.
Mhm.
That's not necessarily contagious, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, somebody did have strep. Okay.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's irrelevant. There was a lot that happened. Um, and so what ended up happening was we had one or two babies that were out. Um, came back, everything seemed like normal. Then we had another few babies that were out and came back probably a little too soon. You know how sometimes you think your baby is good and you're like, okay, they're back to normal, and then they get to school and the school's calling you saying, no, baby is this and this. That's exactly what happened. So I don't know if being back in the environment like triggered something. I don't know, but we had babies coughing, sneezing, runny noses, fever, just not feeling good. These babies literally, you could physically see on their faces they were not feeling good.
And sometimes with those viruses, like you could be good Wednesday, and then Thursday comes, and it's just like another wave of it, just
Yeah,
completely throws you off.
yeah,
And it was in all of our classes. It
yeah.
wasn't just. It
One
was like,
class. It was every class that
yeah.
we were teaching in, somebody in there was sick. And this, whatever this was, came in waves because it did happen where, okay, it seems like they're getting better. And then literally the next day, it's like all the progress that was made went out the window. And so we ended up, so that not this past Friday, but the Friday before, everybody was there, and Anna and I was just looking at just the coffin. We're like, you know what, let's just tell the parents we're gonna close school on Monday and just let them rest over the weekend, because at that point our kids started getting sick. And so we were like, okay, well, we can't really do much if our kids are sick. We already know that it's about 5 other students that are sick, so let's just close on Monday, give everybody the entire weekend and plus day one, another extra day to get better, and we'll go back to school on Tuesday.
Because it hadn't gotten serious.
No, it
At
was
that
just like
point, it was just like oh, there's a cough, a possible sniffle.
and they're a little warm, but not enough to like panic
Mm-hmm.
over. Child, by the time Sunday came, me and Anna was on the phone. I was like, my kids are not coming to school on Tuesday. And she was like, mine aren't either. Um, and so we were like, okay, we need to figure this out. So Monday came, and Anna's babies had gotten really sick at that point. And her husband, he had to go to work. Like, he doesn't work from home like Cody. Like, he has to go out and do what he has to do. And so I was like, Anna, you stay home with your kids. I'll go in. We already know half the school ain't gonna be there anyway. Little did I know it was more than half the school. 3 students showed up on Tuesday. 3. So my kids were at home sick. Cody was at home. Although he was home, he still was working and had all 3 of the boys. So I got to work, saw that it was only 3 kids. We had 2 of our workers were already there. So we had 3 staff members with 3 kids. You know what I'm saying? And so I like gave one of our workers, I was like, listen, you can go do this, this, and this. I gave her some stuff to do. The other teacher just stayed with the 2 students. And then I came back home because they can hold it down. They don't need me there. So I came back home, and it progressively got worse. By then, I saw that my baby, the baby, now Cody and Carson had gotten sick. Anna's kids were sick. And then I'm looking at the baby, and now he's getting warm, and his cough has went from a dry, all their coughs went from dry to wet in like a matter of days. Because that's why we weren't as concerned. It's like, oh, it's just a kind of cough to the that kind of cough. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, what is happening? So I had to take my baby to the doctor that day. And now I'm kind of telling my personal, you can tell your personal. I had to take my baby to the doctor that day. Took the baby to the doctor. At the time, they said lungs clear, ears clear. It just, mommy, it just looks like a cold. They tested him for RSV and the flu. It was negative. At this point, Cody and Carson still kind of weren't feeling the best, but they were okay. So we just wanted to check out the baby, make sure the baby was good. That night, our car started running hot. Now, keep in mind, those of you who may or may not know, my husband and I sold our other vehicle 2 years ago. because at the time it just didn't make sense. We didn't need two vehicles. We wanted to save some money because the plan was to save for a house. And literally, Cody and I were literally going to the same place every day. He was coming to work from the office at our school, and we were always in the car. It didn't make sense. So it was like, let's just sell it. Well, the car that we kept was our van, which was an '07. So it's an older car, still got decent miles on it, and was working. So it was like, okay, it's an older car, but it works for our family. And we also got rid of the other car because our son always got car sick. No matter where we went, he was always getting car sick because it was too compact in that car. So we was like, it's no point in keeping a car that our child is getting car sick in all the time. So I said that to say the car was running hot. We've had, over the past 2 months, we've had several car issues with the car. It just was just doing its thing. We've spent out so much money trying to get stuff fixed. Wednesday comes around. We realized the car's running hot. Cody's trying to figure out what's going on. On that particular day, I went out to run an errand, do some self-care. On the way home, car started running hot. We're panicking. I get home. This point, the baby has his 4-month-old checkup. They combined it and got Carson a checkup as well because Carson an appointment because Carson needed albuterol and he hadn't used it in over 2 or 3 years. So they needed to do a new appointment because he needed it for his cough. He needed a breathing treatment. And we were out of the albuterol. We didn't have a way to get there. Everybody that we would normally ask were not available. Anna, she's at home with sick kids. There was no way she was going to be able to help us. Some of our other close, really, really close friends, they had a personal situation going on. They were not able to help. And we were like, we don't know who to call on. Like, so we had to Uber our entire family to the doctor's office. That was, Cody said this himself. That was the lowest point for him because he felt bad. Like, dang, I can't even, our car's not fixed. I can't even get my family to the doctor. He took on that responsibility. Like, babe, it's not your fault. Like, you didn't know the car, but he took that on. And I can't take that from him because as a husband, as a father, that weight weighs on him. And we had to go there. From there, we had to go get a chest x-ray because at this point, baby boy indeed had gotten worse. And Cody and I were like running off of 2 and 3 hours of sleep. We were exhausted. We were up all night with him because he couldn't, every time he got to sleep, he couldn't breathe because he was coughing and mucus. And it was just, and it's one thing for your child to be sick. It's another thing for them to be so little and they can't do anything about it or tell you what's hurting or hack up. They don't know. They don't have the ability to cough up. Like, at least with the boys.
The canal is so short. It's like they technically don't have a neck until they're like 1 anyway. Right. So.
And they can't get it up. And so we're sitting here cupping his back, trying to help him get it out. You can literally see him and physically hear him choking on the mucus, and we can't get it out of there. I'm like suctioning him, trying to get it out. He's miserable. He's warm. Carson literally slept for 2 days straight, and he didn't want to do anything but just watch TV. He wouldn't eat. We had to force him to drink. It was terrible. We had to go to the hospital because they get a chest x-ray because they wanted to make sure he didn't have pneumonia. They did see, she was like, Mom, yes, he's wheezing. He has an ear infection. He has bronchitis. Bronchiolitis, which is the baby version of bronchitis. And so I'm like, what? So now my baby got an ear infection. He got bronchitis. He wheezing. He need breathing treatments. It's just all this stuff. And there's so much more details, but to not be super long-winded, we ended up having to go to like 3 different places. Thank God in the midst of there, God provided some ways for us to get where we needed to go and for me to get to pick up our medicines and all of that. So shout out to the people that helped with that. But it was crazy. I'll pause here because mine could be long-winded and let you jump in with what happened with you.
Mine was, it was definitely layered, like the same where it just kind of progressively got worse. It was my daughter first that started feeling like not feeling the best, which her and her twin both are pretty good about, like, now they notice when they're not feeling well, so they'll say something. Sometimes they be trying to put on, but for the most part, they're pretty good about saying if something is going on, especially her. And so she said something. I want to say it might have been like Thursday. But when we had a couple of our babies, so the week that we were at school, when I noticed some of our babies weren't feeling the best, I had already started kind of giving mine their normal allergy regimen, just for just allergy stuff, a little Zyrtec in the morning, a little Benadryl at night, that type stuff. And so I'd already started doing that with them on like Tuesday or Wednesday. And so on Thursday when she said that she's like, "Mommy, I kind of just don't feel." So I was like, "Okay, well, let's just keep, getting the medicine in your system, and maybe that'll help." By Friday, when we got home, she from school is when she was like, I could tell she wasn't 100% herself, but she was okay. And so but once I noticed that she had a little bit of a cough starting, then that's when we had decided on Friday, anyways, during the day, like, listen, let's just, because we had a few other babies that weren't feeling well. It just didn't make sense. Saturday morning at like 5, she came and she came in our room and was like, "Mommy, I don't feel good, da da da." And I felt her and she had a temp. And so I was like, great. And so I went and got her some Motrin and did all of that. And when you're in, first off, all of mine, which yours are too, are in the same room. So it's like, it's only a matter of time that they're all gonna get something possibly. But for like 3 days, everybody was fine. It was just her. And so I was keeping her separate, and I felt bad doing that, but I was trying to keep her separate. If she wanted Saturday, she was really not feeling good. Sunday really wasn't feeling well. So I was like, listen, you can come out here and watch a movie and do stuff like that, because the TV in their room is messed up, and my husband is trying to teach them a lesson by not replacing it, but really it's just intruding on me. But it's whatever. But honestly, I thought it was gonna have a bigger impact, but it's been kind of chill. It's only in moments when they're not feeling well that I'm like, it would help for them to be able to lay in their bed and be comfortable and be able to watch a movie or something. But it's fine. But so when she did come there, I said, "Baby, let's just put a mask on you, since they're mask babies. Our kids around that age are mask, like, they're used to that. My youngest one not so much, but they had to come to school with masks when we opened up our homeschool.
It was in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, it was in 2020, so they're used to having to wear masks and stuff like that. So I was like, let's just wear a mask, for a little while you're in here with your brothers, and then, but anytime you want to go lay down, like, you don't have to worry about it. And by Tuesday is when I started seeing things take a turn for my sons, and I was like, okay. Now, mind you, my youngest one is 2. He had a cough like 2 weeks before that, but he's teething. So all of, if you're a parent that's gone through teething, you understand that, like, all the drainage and stuff like that. So he was already coughing and already had a lot of mucus going on because he was teething. So I wasn't really thinking much about it when he still kind of had a little bit of cough, and he goes to daycare. They didn't go to daycare. So I'm having to get used to all of that, because my twins didn't experience any of that. So when I started noticing her twin, I was like, okay, I think something is, okay. So I kind of upped the ante, which I had reached out to Tam. I don't even remember what day this was, but I was going to get some. It might have been Saturday, or I can't remember what day it was, but we were talking, and she was going to the naturopathic doctor.
Oh, that was Saturday.
To the office, and I was already going to ask my husband to get some while he was out. Come to find out, Tam had already gone and was like, "Girl, she ran out, but I'll just give you a little bit of what I have." And I was like, "Perfect, that'll hold me over until we can get some." So started giving them that stuff, just a natural cough medicine, elderberry, things like that. I'd already gone to the store and bought like 17 teas and all kinds of stuff, because I'm like, we're going to at least get the mucus flowing, just trying to be proactive. And they just progressively got worse. And
Whatever this was, everything that normally worked did not
Nothing.
work.
I bought them Allegra. I mean, they were taking Allegra. They were
Baby.
around the clock. They were taking. They had their Allegra in the morning. They had their cough syrups. They were taking, drinking their teas, and they were drinking tea like 2 and 3 times a day. Like, I wasn't playing, and putting elderberry in there to cool it down, so it had to be refrigerated, and that would cool it off. Like, I had like natural. Went to Aldi. That's my favorite place in the world. And got like they have like probiotic juices and stuff. So I was using that. Look, I'm like, listen. We're gonna do this the best way. We're gonna mix the natural and the physical
Yes.
together best we can, or the natural
Baby,
stuff.
I was
And
juicing.
yes,
I juiced oranges. I made a vitamin C power
listen,
packed tea. It had orange, lime, and then I put ginger in it. I had
All
a
the
mint
good
in
stuff.
it. I made a juice with the juicer. It had orange juice, lime, lemon, and ginger in it. And they was tearing that orange juice up. CJ didn't like the pulp, but I'm like, honey, you better get over
You'll
there and
be
drink
all
this.
right.
I made a soup full of vitamin C. Did you know that
Listen.
red and yellow peppers have vitamin C?
Oh,
So I chopped up some red and yellow peppers. I had
all
kale.
the stuff.
I had carrots. I had garlic and onion. What else I put in there?
Everything.
Everything I could think of. Like just power packed.
Yes. And
And nothing was
it just
they just kept
it was
getting
almost
worse.
just kind of like.
It was just like rolling off the bat. And
It
I was like, what is this
it was
sickness? It was
terrible.
demonic.
Yes.
Whatever it was from the devil
Yes.
himself. Because I'm trying to understand.
It came from the depths of his soul,
I'm
because
trying to understand.
it took them out. And like for the boys, they started, so as she was getting better, air quotes, they were getting worse. And so at one point her twin was like, he eats, okay? Both my boys eat. They eat, and I just be like, good God. But anyways, he doesn't like. He wasn't wanting to eat,
Yeah.
and I was like, see, like I already knew. Then he started feeling warm. Then the little one, his cough, it just morphed into something, and I was just like, I literally at one point was sitting there like this, where I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I literally just had to start praying. I was like, God, I really need you to not only give me peace, but I need you to tell me what to do, because what I'm doing is not working.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't take them to the doctor because my husband wasn't there. Like, he was there, but not there. Does that make sense? And so I was kind of thugging this out by myself, especially during the day, like the thick of the day, cooking dinner, doing all of that type of stuff, like thugging it out. And at one point, this is TMI. At one point, I looked at my husband. He was like, okay, so I said, I'm going to shower,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm offending myself,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not thinking about that. Like, and our shower is not in our room. So I don't think about all that. You're just trying to get kids in beds. And so then once everybody's in the bed and you feel like, okay, then I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to shower. You think I'm about to go into the room where my children just got in the bed and are just not falling asleep and they sick, and I'm about to try and tiptoe in there to take a shower? No, I will bird bath it until I can get in there and fully bathe. Like, I was like, y'all are not waking up, which didn't matter. They didn't sleep well anyway. So, and I'm a light sleeper now that I have kids. So it's like, and I'm dealing with, anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. But it's just, it threw everything off. And I finally just got to the point where I was like, okay, I already know I'm not going to be able to get myself together, get them dressed, get them in the car, and drive them to the other side of town to get them to a doctor's appointment. That's not happening. And even if it could happen, I'm going to use my strength for something else. So
Right.
I was like, I called, she's not officially my godmother, but I have many godmothers, I'll just say that. So I called her. Well, I sent her a text. So she's a pediatrician. She was mine, and she's my children's honorary pediatrician, but she technically doesn't live here where I am. But I'll message her all the time and be like, hey, listen, what do I do? What do I get? So I messaged her, and she called me, and she gave me some suggestions. Some stuff I already had, thank God, that my mom had brought. She called in some more albuterol for them to get breathing treatments and all that kind of stuff. So then we started seeing a light at the end of the tunnel on like Saturday. And I was just like, I don't, if they get any worse at this point, I'm like, I ain't gonna be able to go to work next week. Like, it just threw everything off. And baby boy took a turn Sunday again. And I was just like, listen now, I don't have no more will.
Right.
And so we got him an appointment for Monday, but I had to do half day on that day with my husband. So he had him the first half. Had him the second half, and then we took him to the doctor. And he's fine. He's just the cough is all in his throat. Thank God, all the breathing treatments are working. Nothing's in his chest. All of that kind of stuff. Um, but he has a double ear infection. So I'm just like, it just feels like we could not catch a break. And I think on top of that, and I know you could speak to this as well. Both of us where we are, our husbands requirements even in their jobs has amped up. So this is almost like the worst time for this to happen because they're not as available to us as they normally would be. And so on top of just trying to manage that, I'm also trying to manage me.
Right.
Because the reality is then I started not feeling well. And then
Yep.
but if you're home by yourself, I got to literally use what I have, and so then that started weighing, and I was just like, listen, God, I literally cannot, I can't, like, I can't, like, so I'm gonna either need you to do something supernatural, or I am going to need to feel a sense of peace through all of this that'll just help me get to the next day. Because if I'm honest, it's like I still am feeling the effects and the weight of it. Like I'm not okay. If you get what I'm saying, like it's just I'm just waiting for a moment to where I don't feel what that was all last week. And it wasn't just because the kids are sick, which I think y'all can understand that. It wasn't just because our children wasn't feeling well. It's the it's the snowball effect that happens and how it now affected work, it affected home, it affected everything, mental, emotional, everything was affected with this, on top of feeling like I have no clue what I'm doing, if what I'm doing is working. It doesn't feel like anything's working. And so when you are already having to just go through normal day-to-day life stuff, and then you add that on there, and this type of stuff you can't plan, it just threw me off. And I'm still trying to get back on the boat and feel like I'm not sinking.
Just so y'all know, if y'all see me maneuvering, it's because I'm trying to get footage for our Instagram page. So just ignore me. But what I was gonna say was, oop, let me get it. What I was going to say was, that this reminded me of one of those cockroaches that no matter how many times you hit it, it continues to run. No, how many times you spray that Raid or that hot shot on it, it keeps going. Like whatever this sickness was, it it ran us down through there. And I think, and I get emotional talking about it because it was just a rough week. And I remember multiple times throughout the week when we talked on the phone, whether it was on a video call or just on phone, like you could just see the exhaustion. And like, I'm grateful we had each other because like some of the days just on the phone with her for 15 minutes just helped me realize, okay, I'm not in this by myself. And yes, we have our husbands. And yes, they did the best they could. I know for a fact, Cody one night was up. Cody was up with that baby till 5:30 in the morning, which my body's shut down because I'm breastfeeding. It's like breastfeeding takes a whole nother level of energy that if you don't have energy already and you're breastfeeding, that's it. Like one breastfeeding session will take you out for the rest of the day. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, our husbands were doing the best they could with what they had going on. But it's just a lot going on. And I think as a mom, we're naturally nurturers. And when our nurturing isn't enough, what do you do with that?
Mhm.
When I'm soothing you, I'm trying to comfort you, it's not enough. When I'm looking at my baby who is the most, I mean, Carson literally is one of, like, he brings joy to whatever room he walks in. And when you look at his face and he looks like someone just rained on his parade. He is exhausted. He's telling me, "I'm fine, Mom. I'm okay." But his face, and eventually he goes, "I really don't feel good." And when he sleeps all day and he's not playing, he's not eating his favorite things. He loves salmon. I put a thing of salmon in front of him and he was just like, "Just one bite. Please, just one bite." And I'm like, "Okay, my baby really doesn't feel good." My oldest is very prove you wrong type of child. Like, "I'm okay, Mom. I'm going to be okay." I could tell he wasn't feeling well either. But he got over it quicker because his immune system is stronger than his brothers. He's been on this earth almost 10 years. They're younger than him. He was the baby who got sick all the time. So all the stuff, it's like his immune system was like, "I've been through that. Already did that. What's next?" You know what I'm saying? So he's different. Carson was breastfed until he was almost 2. Cody was only breastfed for a few months, or not even a month, barely made it a month. And so their immune systems are different. Carson didn't really get sick because he was being breastfed, but when he finally got exposed to the sicknesses, it was like he was exposed. And so I said that to say it just made things 10 times worse. And with us not knowing what it was like, okay, what do we do to treat this? What do we do to, you know, get the results that we're used to getting when we do the elderberry, when we do the vitamin C, when we do the tea? Why are they not getting better? Why? And so that is why we have not posted. Because at the end of the day, this means the world to us, but our family is always going to come first. And it's not that we didn't want to, it was just that we literally didn't have time. And the times that we had mapped out, our kids were still sick, and or because it delayed things, now our husbands are having to work even more because they lost time doing this. And so now if they're not available, we're not available. And so it just, and we're still recouping from this week. Like, we had a special guest planned to shoot. We have a lot of special guests for this year, but like, we had planned on, the goal was to go drive to Atlanta and film the episode with them um last Friday. We weren't able to go because our kids were still sick, and just everything, just our schedules just got thrown off. And it didn't work. My car was out of commission. My baby at that point was still in the thick of it. So it was a lot. And if you can't tell,
And still trying to manage our families.
yeah.
Like, trying to manage the families who trust us with their child's education. So we're also trying to manage, I didn't mean to cut you off. We're also trying to manage from a business owner mindset and making sure that our families are well. Like, are y'all okay? You know, so we're like opening school, closing school. Y'all coming? Like, calling them, "Are y'all okay?" Or one day they came to school, and then it was, we weren't able to be there because our kids were still sick, so our staff was there, but then they're telling us like, "Hey, I think they're still not feeling the best." So now we've got to call parents and be like, "Hey,
You might want to come
might
pick
want to
them
come
up.
pay." So in the midst of us trying to be present for our children and going through our own personal things, we're also now trying to make sure that all of our families are okay, you know, and calling them and checking on them and seeing who came to school, making sure our staff is okay, because our staff have families. So we're trying to make sure, are you okay? Can you come in? Can you get? And so trying to balance all of that while also trying to balance home, like,
It's a lot. And then doing stuff in ministry. Like, on top of that, I still had ministry obligations that I had. And some I had to, like, but some of them I didn't have a choice. I had to be there for certain things. And so it was just like, okay, Lord, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what's going on.
mm-hmm.
But I will say this, to be on the coming out on the other side of it, because there's still some residual and there's still some things, some residue, if you will, left over. Um, I'm grateful that um, we both talked about how there was this eerie sense of peace in the midst of it. Um, And that was one of the things I talked about. I've been talking about, and I guess God decided to test me on it. I had been telling people on my YouTube channel and on my stories and Instagram about how peace is not what we chalk it up to be. You're sitting outside on a sunny day, birds are chirping, it's calm, it's quiet, it's a cool breeze. No, peace is when the storms of life are raging, when all hell is breaking loose, and you can sit in the middle of it and go, okay, God, I trust you.
Yep.
Or, man, it's a lot going on right now, but I know God is in control.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when Jesus was on that boat, they was freaking out, and this man of God was asleep. Okay, Jesus was knocked out, and literally they were getting knocked up inside by waves and storms, and I can only imagine how scary, how dark the clouds were, and he was sleeping. That's true peace. And God already told us He gives it to us. He's going to give it to us, and it's going to surpass our understanding. And I know Anna was talking on her Instagram the other day, and she was just like, it was almost like, Lord, I don't understand. I don't understand this peace that you gave me.
It's aggravating almost, because you almost are like, why do I feel okay? Or why do I feel a sense of I'm going to be okay when literally I'm looking around me and nothing is okay?
And it's aggravating because you want to be mad. Like, I'm
Yes.
justified to be
Yes.
pissed off about what kind of week this was.
Yes.
But the Lord literally told us we're not going to understand it. It's our intellect will not be able to
Exactly.
comprehend the peace. And so we're walking in that. We're walking that out. And so we want to encourage you all. Because at the end of the day, life is happening for everybody. It ain't just happening for us. We just happen to be sharing it for y'all on this platform. Life is lifing for everybody.
In a new way.
In a new way. I mean, 2024 has already come out the gate, kicking us in the back of our neck.
Like,
and so
knocked the door down and did not care.
No, like broke it down.
Busted
and left
in
us
like
off
the
hinges.
FBI.
Exactly. The SWAT team.
SWAT.
And so our encouragement to you is whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is that you are going through, God is in control. Mm-hmm. I know it looks hard. I know you're trying to understand. I know you're trying to figure. I got chills saying this. I know you're trying to understand what I literally have chills. Mm-hmm. I know you're trying to understand why God allowed that situation to happen. You're trying to understand, why is this happening to me? I don't deserve this. How am I going to pay for it? Who's going to be there? Why do I feel alone? Why does this not feel right to me? And God is saying, I'm in control. Just trust me. Because who better than to trust the person that made you, that knows every single hair on your head, that loves you unconditionally. I mean, unconditional love means it's love without conditions. No matter what you do, He still loves you. He still loves you. And so you have to trust that God. You have to trust and believe that He's going to come through for you. Think about your children. Think about your loved ones. What is it that you wouldn't do for them? And add times 10 on that with God. My kids, I will go to the ends of the earth for my children. But even that love is finite. His love is infinite. His love is ever growing. His love for us is so vast, so wide, so deep. Okay? So think about that. I love my kids. I will hurt somebody. I will go to jail for my kids.
Surely will.
You hear me? I will go to jail for my kids. And that love, even that love is not conditional. I mean, even that love is not unconditional, is what I meant to say. So imagine a God whose love is unconditional. Of course He's going to make sure you straight. He didn't say it was going to always be sunshine and rainbows. He didn't say it was going to always be easy. He takes us through these things to grow us, to strengthen us, to stretch us. But He going to make sure we straight. We just got to trust Him. So there's that. This is a super long episode, but we just wanted to share with y'all what was going on. You will be getting some new episodes coming out. We got some special guests we're so excited with working with.
Yes.
We got a lot coming up this year. And our goal, guys, is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. But God's gonna do it. God's gonna do it before the end of the year. He's gonna do it, and we're excited. We're excited about the growth that's happening. We're excited about the support that we're giving. You guys are so supportive. You guys are always saying, "Where's the next episode?" Commenting, showing the love. We've received gifts. You guys are just.
That was so. Okay. That was so sweet.
Shout out to Shayna.
Yes.
For sending the gifts. She sent gifts. I shouted her out on our family page, but she sent gifts to the both of us, and thank y'all just for being so supportive. Yes. The best way that you can support us right now is to share our videos, comment, and yeah. So without further ado, we're gonna end this episode unless you have something else to say.
Well, okay. So everything that Tam said is so key because it's easy for us to get into sometimes a shouting match in our head, and sometimes a shouting match in our heart with God, going back and forth and just being so frustrated. And then in the midst of the frustration, there will be little things and some big things, but there will be things that God is going to do to just show you that he's with you, to show you that he's got your back, that he hears you. Even if he's not saying anything or responding, he'll have someone do something that shows you like, okay, God is listening. And in the midst of, so there's going to be moments where God is going to do stuff and it's going to seem so random, and it's going to be something positive that he's going to do in the midst of what could be negative or aggravating circumstance. Don't sabotage that moment because you don't trust or understand the situation that you're going in, or you wished it happened at a different time. Don't sabotage it. Don't sabotage being able to enjoy those little things that God is doing for you just because you're still in a situation that you don't care for, or you're in a situation that isn't what you asked for. Because even in those little things and even in those big things, God is saying, I heard you and this is the answer. And just because I haven't fixed everything doesn't negate the fact that I did just answer this, though. Like, you asked for this and I just gave you this. Yes, everything, hell may still be breaking loose, but I gave you this and I blessed you with this. And I wanted to honor the fact that I heard you and honor the fact that you do trust me, that there is peace. Even though you are still frustrated, you are still trusting me through your frustration. And so when he gives you those things, and when he blesses you with those things, or he answers those prayers, or he sends someone to remind you that he's thinking of you, don't sabotage that moment to negate what you just got. Just receive it and just say, well, God, if you answered this prayer, then I know you're going to also answer the prayers that I'm sending up in the situation that I'm in right now. So just don't sabotage the situation. Receive it, walk with it, and if God gave it to you, he's going to allow you to keep it. So don't allow what's going on around you to negate the blessings that God is still giving you in those moments. And that's where you're going to find that peace in the midst of the storm. That's where you're going to find that peace that surpasses understanding in the midst of all hell still breaking loose. When you take in those moments where you did know that was God, or you received God, or you felt his presence, just allow those moments to be what you ride on until you can get to the destination that he has for you. So that was all.
That's good. That's good. And I'm grateful. Like I said, I'm grateful we had each other through this, because yeah, yep. That's all I'm gonna say. So we thank you guys.
Yes.
We appreciate y'all's support. Appreciate the love. If you're new here, welcome to the chaos. And we just ask that you, if you like what you see, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can be notified of our next video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.